Welcome back to another show and tell video. Today we're looking at two examples of a blank firing adapter for the M16, M4, AR15 platform that uses 5.56 NATO or 223 Remington caliber, and also importantly I believe the A2 flash hider for those dimensions, or flash hiders with the same dimensions as the A2. So as you can see, these are the red box color variety. They do come in different colors depending on the evolution of the part itself. Some are yellow. I've seen other colors as well, depending on the country that's using them, as well as different platforms as well will have different dimension size blank firing adapters. But again, these are specifically for the A2 style flash hider on the M16, M4, AR15 type platforms. So if we go ahead and take a look at one of these, you see it's all metal, and if we check for magnetism, of course my magnet's never in the same place, but here's one. So that's steel, the ring is steel, the shaft is steel, the hex nut is steel. So there are different manufacturers that were contracted to produce these, and you can see there's variations as to the quality of build. You can see this one's not quite at square angles compared to this one. These are also easily damaged if you're using particularly a non-standard length barrel, particularly one that is shorter than standard. So for example, some of the M4s will have short barrels, some of them even shorter than normal standard, and those will create enough pressure to distort this tube once it's screwed in, causing enough force to move the tube in this direction. But while it's threaded, the only way that it can actually move is by distorting the metal box itself, and that becomes quite apparent. This one here might have to be trued up a little bit in a vise to get it to the right size, and then also expand it out as well. This dimension right here kind of concerns me. But this one here is in pretty good shape, even though the paint itself is more chipped than this one. The only moving part is this main shaft, which I'll show it actually goes and interfaces with the barrel itself. This actually wraps around the flash hider, and then this is used to run through the flash hider to lock this into place so it just doesn't slip right off. Real quick, again, different manufacturers. Not sure which one made these two, but these two do have the same part number on top, and then a manufacturer code at the bottom. And it's kind of hard to read. I believe it says 8I382, but don't hold me to that. That second character could be a T as well. Nothing on this side, nothing visible on the bottom or the top except for the actual metalwork itself. So the main purpose of these, again, is a blank firing adapter or attachment, is to allow an item to use blank ammunition as opposed to live ammunition. And blank ammunition does not typically provide enough gas pressure to cycle fully the action of certain platforms like the M16, AR15, M4. So in order to generate enough pressure to simulate proper action. This is used to direct more gas or contain more gas or delay the release of gas in the barrel to give enough time for gas to be directed through the action itself to properly cycle rounds through the item. If we look closer here at the shaft itself, you can see there is a hole drilled. This tube is hollow. And if we carefully look here as I spin it around, you can see an exit port drilled through here. So this is not actually a closed tube. What it does is it slows the release of gas enough that the dwell time of the bolt in the action with the gas contained between the bolt and the distance up to this point, closer towards the muzzle, is enough to drive gas back around to, again, through the gas tube, and then to direct gas pressure against the bolt carrier and the gas key, and then allowing the action to cycle. So, what's the best way we can actually show how this attaches? I just happen to have a barrel here. Don't freak out, there's nothing attached to this. You can see it's quite light. I do have a little plastic cap on here just to keep the elements out. You might want to pick one or two of these up for yourself because these are handy dandy, particularly if you're in inclement weather or rough terrain or muddy terrain. This helps keep unwanted dirt and grime and particles out of this important area here. So we can see here we have an A2 style flash hider, sealed bottom, typical 5 vents, top, 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and 9 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And this one does have an M4 profile barrel, so this is ideal to demonstrate. So let's take the one that way we already have this tube not currently threaded, and it doesn't really matter what orientation you actually put this on, because you basically want to see what you're doing. So main thing is to make sure the tube clears the flash hider, and then you can either drop this right on at the first groove, okay, or you can actually lower this into there too, so you can carefully make sure everything is lined up properly. Then once you have this, the edge, the open edges aligned in the first groove, you just have to push this in and turn, and it basically turns this into a blank firing barrel. So as you can see, as it's putting more tension, it makes this want to spin. So what some people do will then align it the way they want to so that it's very visible. And it's still got a ways to go, so I'm going to use 2 hands here until it is totally secure. Okay, you don't want to tighten it too much, but you can see from the distance of the pin here that we are pretty far in as to where the end of the tube is now contacting the actual end of the barrel right here underneath the A2 flash hider here. So it would be approximately, if I thread this to 5 threads showing, that might give you a better idea as to how far this actually goes in. Okay, so it's right about here. And it's secured on, and it's not going anywhere. So again, With standard barrels, what will happen is you fire a blank. Instead of projectile going down in this direction, you have gas going down in this direction, and then it hits resistance at the tip of the blank firing adapter, causing pressure buildup up in the gas port at the top of the barrel farther back, and then thus directing gas backwards towards the bolt carrier, impacting the gas key, and then thus facilitating cycling of the action in the bolt itself, the full bolt carrier. And any excess gas is also, since it isn't a totally closed system, is vented out through that little vent hole that showed earlier. So depending on where that hole is, somewhere in the flash hider, it could be oriented somewhere hopefully near one of these vents and isn't restricted given the very large diameter of the interior of the flash hider compared to the diameter of the tube. So pretty easy, and this is also easy to take off. So you can see once I already loosen tension, it already wants to spin on its own. And basically all you have to do is unthread it enough that the tube slides free, and it is captured tube, so it's not going to fall out, or it's not supposed to fall out. If it does, you should probably turn it in for a replacement. But you can see how easy that came off. So to conclude, we're looking at two examples of blank firing adapters for the M16, M4, AR15 platform, and use the A2 style flash hider. This has been another show and tell video. Feel free to check out other show and tell videos on vintage, milsurp tools, and expanded topics. We also do unboxing videos, as well as a series of book review media reviews, and a series called Curios for the Curious, videos on more artsy type objects. Feel free to check all those out. Feel free to like and subscribe, and thanks for watching. See you next time.